Hi, I'm Patrick and this is the Mach-E vlog. I woke up this morning to an email from Ford with a press release talking about their future EV plans. We're going to dive into the press release, do some analysis, and talk about Ford's EV future. So let's go. As I said, this is like breaking news. We just got this morning. I'm sitting in my car. I have to go run some errands, and we're actually going on a road trip in a couple hours. But I wanted to give it to you as live and fresh as possible so that you don't have to wait days and days. So we're going to start diving into some of the details. The biggest news that you'll probably see, and probably the reason that you're here on this video, is Ford announced they're killing their 3-row electric SUV. This is hugely disappointing to a lot of people, including myself. It seems like that's a prime segment. That's a segment where like Ford has expertise selling gas versions of it, and we were all hoping that they would jump into the 3-row SUV. A lot of times it's been brought up that the Kia EV9 is just making a killing, that it's doing fantastic, it's crushing it, and Ford has missed their opportunity to come in and sort of dominate that market like they've done pretty well with the gas versions of 3-row SUVs. So that's the biggest headline coming out of this, and probably the most disappointing. And like I said, I'm disappointed as well. Diving into some of the analysis of it, we've heard that the 3-row SUV was going to be this super aero, very high-tech platform, and the biggest hurdles to getting that produced, in my opinion, was like getting the batteries down in cost enough to be able to do that. I thought they were, working on their battery plants in Kentucky and Tennessee and Michigan that would enable that. But I guess Ford is looking at this and determining that they can't do that at this time. And I thought it was also going to be packed with a lot of electronic goodies, a lot of their high-tech new systems, new driver's assistance programs. There's been a lot of rumors about like what's going to go into this 3-row SUV. So who knows what is the actual major, holding them back from being able to produce this. It could just simply be the market conditions, because as I was talking about, like everybody's, excited by the EV9, but I just saw an article, a month or so ago. They're selling a lot of Kia EV9s, but they're also discounted really heavily. So I believe the headline was Kia EV9s discounted by an average of $18,000, which is a huge hit to Kia's, profitability on that vehicle. And that's one of the things that Ford has been really insisting, is that they need to be profitable on their new EVs going forward. As you may know, you'll see the headlines, Ford's losing over $100,000 per EV that they produce. A lot of that is due to their capital expenditures. They're spending a ton of money building a new factory, new battery plants. So a lot of that's where the money is going. Plus, of course, research and development, hiring a lot of software engineers, bringing in some of those supply chains. So that's, one of the things that, Ford has basically made it very much a priority that if they're going to come out with another EV, it has to be profitable. And I think with the size of the battery that they need in a 3-row SUV at the current time, they didn't see that as being possible, which was sort of like my hope. Is like they were talking about delaying it already. I was hoping that it would just be stay on that timeline, or maybe delayed slightly more or whatever. I'm really disappointed to see that it's canceled. I think it's a huge segment that they're going to miss out on. But I think there's a lot of pressure for them. If you look at their stock price, at times it was around $15. It's down. I've seen below $10 recently. So they've lost a lot of value in the stock market. And every time they do a quarterly report, it's always like Ford Pro is doing great, Ford Blue is sort of mixed, and then Model E, the electrification side of Ford, is doing really bad profit-wise. So I think that's where a lot of this pressure is coming, and why they're making some of the decisions. There was some other, a lot of other news in this press release. That's the big headline, and we can dive back into that a little bit more. But the other news is they said that the first Skunk Works EV is going to be a mid-size truck coming out in 2027. I was hoping that would be 2026, so that's also a bit disappointing. If you don't know what the Skunk Works team is, back in 2022, unannounced to anybody, Ford created like a secret Skunk Works team that was going to build the next generation EVs for Ford, vertically integrated, bringing a lot of stuff in-house. And they hired a lot of people from Rivian and Apple and Tesla, and they brought them all in, I believe some from Lucid even. So they're trying to bring all these expert engineers that have done a lot of other great things for a lot of other EV manufacturers, including startups. And like with Apple, they had a rumored EV that never came to fruition. So they brought them. They're actually working in Irvine, California, which is not far away from here. We're in Oceanside, California, and they're actually relocating to Long Beach, California. They're going to build a like advanced vehicle headquarters out here. So that's where the Skunk Works team has been working, and supposedly working at a breakneck pace, very fast development cycle. To me, that meant like, okay, maybe in 3.5, 4 years, we would get something out of that. So like late 2025, get something announced for production in 2026. Now it looks like that's going to be 2027, which is not a huge delay from what we were really expecting, but it's, I was hoping it would be quicker. And they said mid-size truck. I was hoping for a smaller truck, Maverick size. I know a lot of other people that were looking for a Maverick size truck. I think probably one of the holdups there is like you can't get enough battery in a compact pickup truck to get you the range that you want to get. I was also hoping that they would start with the like maybe crossover SUV, because it's been rumored that they're going to have a truck and a SUV type vehicle built on the same platform. So I was hoping that they would start with the SUV, but like a mid-sized truck, probably a strength for Ford to offer something in that capability. So that's good news, sort of lukewarm news to hear about that. The other key factor that is really exciting when you're talking about the Skunk Works vehicles is they are targeting $25,000 to $30,000. So a mid-sized truck starting at even $30,000 would probably be a very profitable, I won't say profitable, very marketable vehicle. Profitable, we'll leave that part to Ford and see if they can actually make a profit at the $30,000 mark. And then hopefully they didn't say anything about any type of SUV. They just said that the truck is the first that will be coming. Hopefully the SUV, crossover, whatever it's going to be, will come at some point. But that worries me that, now we're talking about 2028. There's going to be even more and more competition coming by then. So who knows what Ford will do? Who knows what else will be out there? It seems like Ford is adjusting constantly. Some of the other news that was like really cool is we're talking about providing hybrid versions of the Ford like F-250 Super Duties. That's exciting in terms of like that's a vehicle that Ford sells a ton of. They're basically gas guzzlers, and for Ford to at least have a hybrid version of that is great. I don't think those are ones that were going to be targeted for going EVs anytime soon, just because of the type of function that they have to perform. But to see at least a hybrid, that's exciting. They talked about bringing the battery manufacturing for the Mach-E. I'm sitting in our Mach-E to the U.S. from Poland. They're working with LG. Right now they're made in Poland. They want to bring those over to Holland, Michigan, the manufacturing starting next year, which of course, again, that's a bit vague. It could be early 2025, late 2025. we got a lawnmower, so I may have to pause for a second. Sorry about that. We have some construction going on in the house, so I can't film in the house. And then we come out here and they're cutting the grass. So, anyways, back to the Mach-E battery. They said it's some of the Mach-E batteries. I'm guessing that's the extended range batteries that are being made by LG over in Poland will be brought over to Holland, Michigan, and the LFP batteries. I think that's the ones that will be unaffected. And this is all for tax credit purposes. Being manufactured here in the U.S. and sourced here in the U.S. will qualify the Mach-E for more tax credits or federal tax credits for you, the consumer. So that's good news. That helps Ford like offset some of the pricing pressure by letting you get some of the tax credits. So that's why that's being done. Of course, the other two big news, and it is actually good news, EV related somewhat. They are going to be manufacturing in Ohio a new commercial transit van. I didn't say actually transit van, a new commercial vehicle, assuming it's going to be some type of flexible vehicle that could be a van or whatever. My guess is that it may be transit size or very flexible in the sizing. No real details on that other than they're going to take some of the next generation stuff that they were slated to use in their next generation vehicles. It's are going to be used in this. Probably not as exciting to you, but for Ford, they're really leveraging their fleet side of things, Ford Pro, with the F-150 Pro, the E-Transit, and then now this new commercial vehicle. So that's good news for Ford. Ford Pro is making them tons of money, and if they're electrifying that segment, that's fantastic news. And then the other exciting news that we like just keep waiting to hear more about is the T3, which is the next generation F-150 Lightning. We were hoping to see that like late 2025. That keeps getting pushed back further and further. It's going to be second half of 2027. So I'm guessing that may make it a 2028 vehicle, which is super disappointing. We knew it was getting delayed and pushed back a little bit, but to get pushed back to the second half of 2027 is really disappointing. They're building a huge new factory out in Tennessee called Blue Oval City that's going to have battery manufacturing as well as assembling the new Ford T3, whatever they actually end up calling it. They keep saying, a lot of people refer to it as the second generation F-150 Lightning. I think it's going to have some type of new name just because otherwise they would say the next generation F-150 Lightning. I think it's going to be so different. They keep talking about it's going to have bidirectional charging. It's going to have the new electric vehicle architecture that they're building into future vehicles. So it's going to be a lot of advancements in that. They just need to get it out sooner, and I don't think that's any possibility of that. So it's overall not a great day if you are an EV enthusiast. It's exciting to hear about some of these things coming in 2027, but that's like a huge gap of time. They announced the Mach-E in 2019 and came out with that in very late 2020. In 2021, they finalized the design of the Lightning and came out with that in 2022. So basically 5 years between new electric vehicle rollouts, not counting E-Transit and whatever this new commercial vehicle coming out of Ohio is going to be. So for like consumer facing vehicles, it's a bit disappointing for someone like us. I was also, hoping to hear more about three-row SUV, a crossover SUV. That's more of what we're interested in. I wouldn't mind a smaller truck like the Maverick, so we'll have to see what they mean by midsize, and then hopefully they'll have something coming down the pipeline with midsize. They did say that they will continue to improve and enhance the F-150 Lightning and the Mach-E. That's also vague. It's a press release, so a lot of things are vague. Is it just going to be like new paint colors and a new, set of bronze package? Is it going to be a gold package on the Mach-E, or are they going to upgrade and put a NACS port on the Mach-E or improved charging. The 2024's Mustang Mach-E has 20% faster charging, but that still doesn't put it anywhere near the top of where a lot of their competitors are at. For example, the 2024 Mustang Mach-E will charge 10 to 80% in about 32 minutes is what is advertised. But then you have Hyundai and Kia doing 18 minutes under, the right conditions. So if they're not going to make continuous improvements, I didn't foresee them making any more incremental improvements in the Mach-E. Because it's sort of like they're going to reach the end of what they can do with this architecture, 400 volt battery pack with the current motors. They'd have to really change the architecture to sort of leap into the leaders of the pack again. So I don't know if they're going to be able to do that. So it's a bit like frustrating to see. And when they mentioned the Maki and the Lightning, it was just sort of like one sentence down at the end that mentions those. They'll continue to make improvements. So I would like to see something more definitive because we do love the Maki. We love this size vehicle. It doesn't have to necessarily be fast and sporty or off-road. It's just we like this size vehicle. So was hoping to see something about that. T3, of course, is, we've been excited to hear about that. It sounds like it's going to be really awesome. There's going to be a lot of features. That's what they keep saying, but it's like we need to see something more concrete, and was hoping that it would get here faster. So overall, it's hard to take this like any other way than a bit disappointing on a lot of fronts. The only positive is seeing like confirming that it's going to be a mid-size skunk works, low cost EV in 2027. That's great news. Timing isn't great news. So what do you guys think? Let me know. Do you find this overall disappointing? What are you looking for in an EV that you might be considering in 2025, 26, 27? Will you wait around for Ford to come up with something in 2027, or has this made you already start considering something else? There's a lot of questions that I have for you guys. And then there's also like the financial side analysis of this that we really don't necessarily want to get into. We're EV enthusiasts, EV advocates. So getting into the financial stuff, this may be great news for Ford overall. They're making a ton of money with Ford Pro, their Ford Blue, which is their traditional gas and hybrid side of things. Probably is great news for them, but for Model E, does not seem like great news. So that's the segment that we're interested in. I want Ford to succeed. So I want them to do things that are make the company better, financially profitable. So if this is good for that, that's great. But as personally, like in our household, we're wanting to electrify this vehicle and our next vehicle. So it's something that we're going to keep our eye on, and we'll have to wait and see like when we need our next vehicle. Just thinking about it now, our lease, it's not really a lease, it's Ford options, but anyways, runs out on the Mach-E in 2026. So that's when I would want something new and exciting from Ford for us to be able to choose from. So will we look at Ford? Will we look at something else? Only time will tell. Who knows? Maybe we'll decide a Mach-E rally is good enough for us, and we'll hop over to that and be excited, and that will delay us, or not delay us, but put off another vehicle decision for a couple more years. So lots to digest. Again, just go over the press release yourself. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. We'll try to get things answered. Ford isn't really going to answer anything else. I should mention they said they would update their electrification plans in the first half of 2025. It's probably at their annual shareholders meeting that they have. I don't think it's actually a shareholders. I think it's something like investors meeting or something like that. It's usually around May of every year. So I'm guessing that's what they mean, is that they'll provide another update then. So things could still change some more. I don't foresee them bringing things up right now. For the past year and a half, all we've been seeing are delays from Ford. It's starting to sound a little bit like Toyota. Toyota keeps on saying like we can't do EVs profitably, so we're just, or for what our consumers want, so we're just going to keep doing hybrids. And I've criticized Toyota for that, so sort of have to stand, with our values and going like, come on, Ford, make some EVs, make them exciting, and that'll solve a lot of problems. Profitability will be there if you make something that people want to buy. I know there's a lot more to it. There was a quote from Jim Farley in this press release saying like, if you can't make the batteries at a basically cost savings, you're not going to be able to make a vehicle at a cost savings or profitable. So I know that's the big driving factor for Ford and for a lot of other manufacturers. And hopefully Ford survives this transition. Hopefully this helps them survive the transition. We'll see in a couple of years. But until then, drop all of your comments down below. Let's start a discussion on this. And just remember, whatever you drive, whenever it comes out, enjoy the ride.